When we were here last time, roughly 4 weeks ago, we talked about what? I encouraged you all to do something. Saddle up. Because it's going to get rocky. And you need to be able to ride. And I purposefully gave that talk halfway through what we're going through for the reason that today I'm talking about what I'm going to talk about. Half of you aren't here. And do you think that's a surprise? I expected that. I expected probably even a few more to be gone. But you all showed up, and I'm proud of you. I even texted everybody a half hour ago before the meeting started that I was going to be 10 minutes late. When's the last time I was ever late? I texted you on purpose. And one person took the bait. Is that a surprise? No. I was listening to a real precious speaker to me, and he had lost his wife, who he'd been married to for over 4 decades, and meant the most in the world to him, besides his own faith. But all the stories I'd ever hear from him were just about how much his wife loved him and how much he loved his wife. And then she died. And he was the leader of an organization that was pretty powerful. And he took some time off and went into Africa. And on his way back from Africa, he wrote a pretty cool thing that he had read the next time he was in front of his organization. And I can't remember it exactly, but the couple things I do remember is pygmy dreams. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of pygmy dreams. And what does that mean? To me, it means in my pool of life, do I get disrupted by just those little baby ripples that happen when I drop a pebble in? No, not really. It's fun. I enjoy that little bob on the wave thing. But personally, what gets my attention is when a big boulder hits the pond and I got 5-foot waves staring at me. A good friend of mine this weekend, his wife and I are friends on Facebook, and she sent me a thing about, and it wasn't just to me, but it was about to everybody. She said, Tom got baptized today. The volume of water going down one of the rivers that we live by is pretty huge. And he came up against a 5-foot standing wave where water's hitting a rock, and it stood his boat up on end and flipped him right out. He knew how to do the boats. He's good. He's a good captain. But he went out of that boat so fast that he didn't even know how he got out of the boat. He just knew he was out of the boat. His life got disrupted immediately. And he got baptized. And it's just a joke that people make about getting into the water. You know, if you're floating whitewater of any kind of volume where it's class 2, class 3, class 4, and the Mungo of class 5 rapids, over a period of time, you are going to go out of the boat. It's just a guaranteed. And the joke is if you get back in there, it's like, hey, how'd you like your baptism? But when I challenged everybody last time at this meeting that we are at to take a look and saddle up because it's going to get rocky, I knew what I was doing, and I knew what was going to happen. And today bears that fruit. And my text about being 10 minutes late bears that fruit. Because it's uncomfortable. The challenge was out there. Whether you were paying attention to it or not, it was out there. And it's time to saddle up. I ask you to look at what you've done, where you've been, what you've accomplished so far in the 5.5 months of 2014. Are you satisfied? And I hope you're not. I hope you're not at all. Because I am not. And that's why I'm flying out of here on Friday. Because I am not satisfied. I personally need more mentorship in my life. And I don't have it here in the structure of my life in this area. So I have to leave. Because I love it here. Everybody knows that. I am a Montana boy. I live here for a reason, and I love it here because of Montana. But I do have to leave to get what I need because I want to go where I want to go. And it's going to be hard. I have to fly into Los Angeles, I have to be there for the weekend, and I have to fly back out. But in that weekend, I know what I'm going to accomplish and how hard I'm going to work. What does that mean for me? Beginning of the month, I got asked to go. And we talked about it, my wife and I. But I also know that if I decide to take the invitation, make the reservation, and book the trip, I knew what was going to happen. What was going to happen? My life was going to get disrupted. I purposefully kicked over a big rock into my pond because I made the intention of I need more mentorship. I need to stretch myself. And I've probably had at the minimum in the last 2.5 weeks 5 things show up in my life that said don't go, don't leave, don't take the trip, cancel it, it's not worth it. I've had 2 fights in my family because of it. And that's just what happens. When you decide to dream bigger and move out of the pond of your comfort zone, things happen. It's guaranteed. Always guaranteed. And it's how you are willing to embrace those challenges is going to prove who you are and whether or not you want to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. It's guaranteed. That guy saying he wanted to have no more pygmy dreams. He started that organization with 4 people around a dining room table in Austin, Texas, and grew it into a significant thing. Even to the point where he was nationally famous, internationally famous, and revered. All because he decided he wanted to do something different. He wanted to create an environment where the unworthy felt worthy, where they were going to have something happen in their life that was of value. And everybody said it was a stupid thing. He even got to the point where they had to refinance the loan because the interest on the interest on the interest was becoming past due. And he went to the banker and said, I need to refinance. And the banker was furious at him and said, no, won't happen. And laid out the reasons why. The guy went out and found some significant people in that organization that were willing to refinance and put their name onto the document that said, yes, we will guarantee this. It will happen. Everybody showed up, the paperwork got signed, and that banker asked the man to stay behind. And got right in his face and said, I can't believe that you asked these men to put their name onto that loan for you, because you're a shyster. You're not going to work out. And laid out a bunch of lamentations about why it was going to go wrong. 15 years later, he got to meet with the banker as he paid off everything that needed to get paid off. And the guy apologized and said, I didn't understand your dream. I didn't understand what it is that you wanted to accomplish. And that's what's going on for you all here. You have big enough dreams that your pond's getting disruptive. I know some of the stories of the disruption. The people that aren't here, I know some of their stories too, of their disruptions and what's going on. And it's fear. It's fear that holds us back. In a book I loved and I read a lot, it's like, we are driven by 100 forms of fear of all sorts. And it's true. We are. There's times that fear keeps me in bed and I have to literally force myself out to go on to the day. There's times when that fear drives me out of my office and home to suck my thumb and watch a cowboy movie so I can re-drum up the effort to go back throughout my day. Fear is something we need to learn how to deal with and breathe through that fear. Because my family has the expectation that their dad is going to produce, not sit at home and suck his thumb and watch cowboy movies. Nothing happens. I want significant things in my life. I have to embrace that fear. And that lion roars. It really does. It roars for everyone, just as loud. It's just a matter of if we want to hear it or not. That's what happens. And are you willing to listen to that roaring lion? Are you willing to look at that lion and understand that it's a little kitten? It's just your own made-up stuff, driving yourself to not accomplish what you want to accomplish. And that's what I had to face a couple nights ago when the fight happened inside of my family. 1 o'clock in the morning, I was going to call my friend that was going with me and tell him, I am not going. I'm going to go ahead and go over to the doctor and get a prescription that says I can't fly and get my money back for the flight ticket and then get my money back from the room. I just wasn't going to go ahead and do it. By 9 o'clock that morning, I called him up and we laughed because I am going to go. But even today, 2.5 hours ago, as I'm staring at that clock right now, I was in my office with a sheriff's deputy because someone was mad at me. And it was just all garbage, but it was one more test of, do I really want to do what I am going to do? And it's yes, I am going to do it. I sent the emails off to my boss to let him know. I sent the emails off to my family to let them know. I sent the email confirmation to the motel to say, hey, I'm not going to get in until this part of time. Go ahead and charge out the room. I'm coming. Don't worry about it. That's what it takes, is our willingness to understand that moment by moment, step by step, we have the strength emotionally, physically, spiritually, to do what it is that we've asked ourselves to do. We can accomplish it if we're willing to keep on the path, stay the course, follow through, do what is needed to be done. We can do it. But is it willingness inside of ourselves to say, this is what I am going to do? Are we willing to put the mark down in the ground and say, this is it? Declare it. Own it. Embrace it. Because there's nothing new here. There is absolutely nothing new going on that I can even share with you that you don't already know. We've all heard the speech. We've all heard the people saying, we've all read the wonderful bylines on our Facebook pages that tell us we have the strength, we have the willingness, we have the courage. But are we willing to embrace it? That's what honestly separates us. And there's been times I have embraced it, and there's times when I haven't because of my own fear. That's what does that. So please, honestly, take the time and pull out your phone and text me, like I've asked you a couple times before already. Are you really, honestly willing to follow through with the goals that you have? There's always going to be car trouble. There's always going to be employee problems. There's always going to be structure problems. There's always going to be those problems. It's our willingness to walk through them, embrace them, and deal with them, and then push them aside and declare, this isn't going to slow me down. You know, I've had to spend the time in the car that didn't work and then hitchhike. I've had to do the things where I've had to say, you know what, I'm sorry. This is more important, and I'm leaving right now to go do that because it's more important than this. I'm sorry. I will be back this afternoon, tomorrow. See me then. There's always a reason not to do it. Is it really the worthy reason? And usually it's not. The one time, oh man, I was with the same friend I'm going down to Los Angeles with. We were going to have a meeting to talk about some stuff. And I got to where he was working. I walked in, and we're talking in the foyer, and my cell phone rang. I answered it, and it was my sister that said I needed to come home right now. And I knew what she meant. I looked at my friend, I said, but, and he said no, because he knew too. My dad had died. I needed to leave and go see my dad and be with him even though he had passed on. That's more important than staying for the meeting. But that's the only real reason is something like that. Other than that, it's just noise. Because whenever you declare something, obstacles immediately get in your way. Always. Because the bigger dream you have, the bigger obstacles you're going to face. So those of you that are here, thank you. And we're really going to enjoy today. And we're going to make it count. The others get to catch up. But you now get to be in the forefront. You get to be the leaders because you took the time to be here for this. Thank you.